You think you're decorating, a few lilies in a glass vase, maybe golden chrysanthemums by the window. The arrangement is elegant, the scent is subtle, but without realizing it, you may have just anchored sorrow at the center of your home. Some flowers aren't meant to sit in living rooms. They're meant for farewells, for graveyards, for altars, for the last embrace. And yet every day people place them where laughter should rise and life should move forward. Why? Because no one told them beauty can carry weight, that petals can hold memory, that the wrong flower in the wrong room can quietly disturb the very energy that builds wealth, health, and peace. This isn't myth. This is design. This is energetic reality. Billionaires don't place funeral flowers by their fireplace. They don't line their guest rooms with symbols of endings, not because they're superstitious, but because they understand something most people don't. Your home doesn't just reflect your life, it shapes it. The energy you allow in becomes the mindset you wake up with. It becomes your baseline. And the objects you think are just decor may be repeating messages you no longer need to hear. So ask yourself, is your home filled with invitations to growth, or with silent reminders of goodbye? Today, we expose the flowers that interrupt flow, that carry frequencies of parting, and that the wealthy never leave near where life is meant to thrive. If you've ever felt stuck, heavy, or emotionally off without knowing why, this is where you begin. Part 1, Red Spider Lily, the echo that never ends. You don't expect a flower to feel haunted, but sometimes the moment you walk into a room, there's a tension you can't name, a heaviness in the air, a pause in your breath. You might chalk it up to stress hormones, maybe too much news, but look again. Just over by the entryway or tucked into that arrangement by the fireplace, there it is. A red bloom, striking and elegant with petals curling back like flame. It's beautiful, arresting even, but it doesn't comfort. It stirs something else. An ache, a memory, a quiet unraveling you didn't realize you were still holding. That flower is called the red spider lily, and it's not meant to be here. In energetic traditions, this flower is infamous for what it carries. Often found near graveyards in Japan, temple paths in Korea, or riverbanks where things are lost, the red spider lily is not about beauty. It's about endings. Its very structure speaks of departure, petals that never fold inward, stems that never cling, color that demands attention and then fades too quickly. It's the flower of the in-between. And if you've unknowingly placed it in your home, especially in living spaces meant for conversation, connection, or growth, you may have created an emotional feedback loop without realizing it. This isn't superstition. This is energetic cause and effect. Homes aren't just walls and furniture. They breathe with us. They reflect us. They hold our thoughts, moods, and the subtle emotional residue of what we invite into them. And certain objects, yes, even flowers, carry resonance. The red spider lily resonates with sorrow that won't settle, goodbyes that won't finish, chapters that whisper instead of closing cleanly. You may not notice it immediately, but over time it shows up. You replay the same emotional patterns. Conversations cycle without resolution. You feel busy but not productive, close to people but not understood. And your space, instead of renewing you, begins to drain you. I once walked into a client's living room, neutral palette, cozy lighting, gentle jazz playing from a speaker in the corner. It was designed for warmth. But it didn't feel warm. Something was off. When I asked her about the crimson arrangement in the center of the room, her tone changed. "Those were from my sister's memorial," she said softly. "They were so beautiful, I couldn't throw them away." And that's the thing, beauty can trick us into keeping what we've already outgrown. But homes don't just respond to color or style. They respond to emotion. That bouquet was anchoring grief in the most social space of the house. Every dinner felt harder. Every conversation ended in tired silence. Once we removed it and replaced it with fresh eucalyptus and peach blossoms, the shift was immediate. The room exhaled, so did she. Red spider lilies are not inherently bad, but they are specific. They carry a message. This is where things end. Used in ceremonies, they honor that message with dignity. But placed unknowingly in living rooms, entryways, or shared spaces, they keep that message repeating. Especially for women who have gone through loss, whether through death, divorce, or simply life transitions, this flower can silently reinforce a state of suspended healing. You've moved on, but not fully. You're growing, but still anchored to a moment that needed closure long ago. The flower becomes a symbol, a spiritual bookmark on a chapter you don't want to reread, but haven't let go of either. So what should you do if you already have one? First, don't panic. Energy is always in motion. The key is awareness. Take a moment to sit with the flower. Ask yourself honestly, what memory is this holding? If it's tied to loss, sorrow, or an identity you've since outgrown, it may be time to let it go, or at the very least, to relocate it. Red spider lilies can be placed with intention in spaces of remembrance. A memory shelf, a photo altar, or even outside in a garden corner designed for reflection. But they do not belong at the center of where life is happening now. And if you're drawn to their fire, their drama, their boldness, that's not a bad thing. But ask yourself what kind of boldness you truly need. Because there's a difference between courage that comes from pain and courage that grows from light. The former defends, the latter creates. Replace them with flowers that speak to who you are now, not just what you've been through. Peonies for graceful unfolding. Geraniums for renewed energy. Ranunculus for clarity and forward movement. Let your flowers echo the life you are actively building, not the one you're still quietly mourning. Remember, your home doesn't forget, it listens. Every vase, every object, every scent, each one tells a story. Make sure that story serves where you're going, not just where you've been. Because healing isn't just a decision, it's a design. And sometimes the most powerful shift you can make begins not with therapy, not with words, but with the simple act of letting one flower go. Part 2. Golden Chrysanthemum, Beauty Rooted in Grief. Not everything that shines brings warmth. The golden chrysanthemum is radiant, often the brightest bloom in a fall bouquet, its layered petals unfolding like miniature suns. You see it in grocery store displays, at weddings, in perfectly curated living rooms on Instagram. It's sold as cheerful, abundant, uplifting. But few people realize the emotional weight this flower carries. Behind the color of gold is a history steeped in grief. And when this bloom is placed in the heart of a home, without understanding its message, it can quietly anchor sorrow where you were hoping to grow joy. Across cultures, the golden chrysanthemum has been revered not for celebration, but for remembrance. It's one of the most commonly used flowers in funerals and memorial ceremonies in East Asia and Europe alike. It symbolizes honor, longevity, and endings. In Japan, it's the flower of the emperor and the afterlife. In many Western traditions, it is a grave flower. Even in the US, it quietly lingers in cemeteries, especially during fall. Its energy is deep, reflective, reverent. But none of that belongs in a space like your living room, the energetic center where relationships move, conversations open, and life pulses forward. Imagine placing a bowl of still water in the middle of a dance floor. That's what it feels like when a golden chrysanthemum sits in a room meant for laughter. Stillness inside motion, memory inside momentum. Over time, that stillness spreads. It shows up in subtle ways, a heaviness in the room that coffee doesn't shake, a strange pattern of feeling exhausted after guests leave, fewer invitations to host, conversations that start strong but fizzle into silence. These aren't coincidences, they're energy distortions. The flower isn't cursed, but it's out of place. And when something sacred is misplaced, it doesn't bless, it burdens. I worked with a client once, a retired nurse living alone after her husband passed. Her home was spotless, gentle, curated with love, but she couldn't shake a low-level fog that followed her from room to room. "I'm not sad," she said, "but I feel like I'm still waiting for something to end." In her entryway, in a tall white vase, sat a full bouquet of golden chrysanthemums. They were his favorite, she smiled. "I always have them when fall comes." And that was the energy, perpetual fall, a season of transition. A threshold never crossed. After some reflection, she moved the flowers to her remembrance shelf, surrounded by photos and letters. She didn't throw them out. She recontextualized them, and within weeks her sleep improved. Her niece visited more. She began repainting a room she hadn't touched in years. The fog lifted because the space stopped whispering "remember" in places meant to say "live." This is the power of placement. Golden chrysanthemums carry dignity, not delight. They are keepers of closure. When you place them in the wrong space, especially near your front door or your living area, they interrupt the flow of welcome. You might not feel it instantly, but your guests might, your body might, and over time, your spirit will. The message becomes subtle but clear. Something is being mourned here. Even if you're not actively grieving, the space echoes that frequency. It remembers what you think you've already let go. If you genuinely love the golden chrysanthemum, don't suppress that, but honor it with intention. Use it where remembrance is sacred, in a corner for meditation, near photographs of loved ones, or outside where it faces the open sky. Let it support reflection, not replace vitality. And in your shared spaces, the kitchen where meals are made, the living room where your grandkids visit, the den where you reconnect with yourself. Choose blooms that bring the present moment to life. Yellow tulips for joyful grounding. Ranunculus for renewed hope. Peonies for softness and trust. Let your home breathe forward. Energy doesn't ask for perfection, but it does ask for clarity. And when we decorate from habit, not understanding, we risk building shrines to emotions we meant to outgrow. Ask yourself this: are you surrounding yourself with memories or momentum? Are you keeping what honors your heart or what holds it back? Because sometimes what looks like a golden light is simply the long shadow of yesterday. And the most healing decision you can make is to move it gently, to where it belongs, and make space for the light that was always meant to grow where you are now. Part 3, White Lily, a scent of final goodbyes. There's a kind of quiet that enters the room when white lilies are present. It's not peaceful, it's not calm, it's a kind of hush. The kind you feel in a hospital corridor, in a chapel before the music starts, or at the end of a difficult conversation when no one quite knows what to say. You walk into the space, see the flowers, and something inside you steps back. You don't always know why. You just feel it. Something about them doesn't invite life. It sanctifies endings. And yet, again and again, these flowers end up in living rooms, bedrooms, and entryways under the assumption that they represent purity, elegance, or simplicity. But what they actually represent is something most people are trying to move on from. White lilies are among the most widely used flowers in Western funerals. They are the floral equivalent of a deep breath held too long. Their scent is strong, sweet, but with an undercurrent of coldness. Their petals are luminous, pristine, almost untouched. But that perfection comes with a price. They're symbols of departure, not arrival. They honor the passage from one life to the next. They quiet the room not because they soothe, but because they mark the moment when words are no longer needed or possible. In that context, they serve beautifully. But when placed in spaces meant for vitality, connection, or renewal, they don't lift the energy. They mute it. They don't grow the room, they pause it. It's easy to confuse stillness with peace. But from an energetic perspective, they're very different things. Peace nourishes, it grounds and softens. Stillness, especially the kind white lilies carry, can feel frozen, suspended, like the room hasn't exhaled in days. This might show up in subtle ways. You light candles, play music, but the room still feels flat. You spend time there, but you don't feel recharged. Sleep feels light, your thoughts spin in place, and even after cleaning, something about the space still feels like it's waiting for what you're not sure. A client once told me she couldn't sleep through the night, even after investing in expensive sheets, blackout curtains, and a sound machine. Her bedroom looked perfect, but energy doesn't respond to perfection. It responds to intention. And at the foot of her bed, in a frosted vase, was a bouquet of white lilies. "They make me feel calm," she said, "like I'm in a sanctuary." That was exactly the problem. A sanctuary is a space of reverence and reflection, but not always a place of renewal. Her bedroom had become a space for closure, not restoration. Once we removed the lilies and introduced softer, warmer elements, lavender bundles, coral roses, even a textured throw in earthy tones, the space shifted. "I slept for 7 hours," she said 2 nights later. "I didn't wake up once. I didn't even realize how quiet it had become until it was." White lilies, like many symbolic flowers, are not inherently wrong, but they carry a frequency of finality. They bring presence but not participation. They hold space but don't energize it. Their beauty is often mistaken for spiritual cleanliness, but in truth, they represent a kind of dignified withdrawal from noise, from need, from the ongoing rhythm of life. This makes them powerful in ceremonies, meditative rituals, and moments when grief needs a container. But they are not meant to sit in the middle of everyday life. They are not designed to witness the living. There's also an emotional layer many people overlook. For those who have experienced loss, consciously or not, the presence of white lilies can re-trigger a sense of emotional shutdown. You may not be actively grieving, but the body remembers. The scent, the shape, the energy signature of the flower can signal it's time to step back. Over time, this subtle message repeats: withdraw, settle, silence yourself. In a space like the bedroom, where dreams should roam, where the body heals, where connection lives, this is especially problematic. The energy of the white lily doesn't soothe, it suspends. So what should you do if you love them? Start with honesty. Why are you drawn to them? Is it their minimalism, their purity, their association with spiritual spaces? Or is there something in you that resonates with their quiet, something unspoken you've been carrying for too long? If you still want to keep them, relocate them with intention. A corner shelf for reflection. A quiet spot in a hallway you pass through but don't rest in. A shelf with letters or photos or poetry. And if they're artificial, consider releasing them completely. The energy of faux remembrance has its own weight, one that doesn't evolve, only persists, and then opens space for something new. Flowers that breathe with you, not just sit beside you. Consider tulips in soft yellows or pinks for emotional warmth. Garden roses with a slightly wild edge to encourage feeling. Even chamomile, gentle and unassuming, brings softness without silence. Let your space mirror your season. If you're rebuilding, choose blooms that unfurl. If you're reconnecting, pick ones that open and lean toward light. Design is not just aesthetic, it's emotional architecture. What you place around you begins to echo inside you. White lilies are exquisite, but exquisiteness isn't always what you need. Sometimes you need a flower that leans in, not one that bows out. So look at your space today. Look at the flowers you've chosen. Ask yourself, what kind of farewell am I still hosting here? And more importantly, what arrival am I ready to make room for? Because the scent of white lilies may be lovely, but sometimes loveliness comes at the cost of aliveness, and your home deserves more than a beautiful pause. It deserves to breathe again. Part 4, Forget-Me-Not, the bloom that clings too long. It looks harmless. Delicate blue, barely larger than a fingernail. The forget-me-not doesn't announce itself with grandeur or fragrance. It doesn't dominate a space. It settles in softly, quietly, almost too quietly. And that's precisely the problem, because what it carries is not lightness, it's longing. It holds onto memory the way some people hold onto old letters or unread voicemails, tenderly, obsessively, without resolution. It doesn't just remember, it lingers. And when placed in a living space, especially one meant for movement, clarity, or rebirth, this bloom can act like emotional static, repeating messages you were never meant to keep playing forever. Forget-me-nots are named for a plea. Don't let go, don't forget. Don't move on without remembering what we had, who I was, what this meant. It's romantic, poetic, and completely misaligned with the energetic frequency of healing. Because healing isn't forgetting, but it is moving forward, and that's exactly what forget-me-nots resist. They are the bloom of pause, of emotional looping, of storylines that should have closed long ago but still echo in your thoughts when the room gets quiet. This is particularly important for those navigating grief, breakups, or even transitions like retirement or empty nesting. You may think the flower is just pretty, or symbolic of someone you love. But energy doesn't operate on intention alone, it responds to frequency. And the frequency of the forget-me-not, however sweet, is stuck. Not in the past, not in the future, but in the middle, a loop of sentiment that never ripens into wisdom. It stays soft, unfinished, unresolved. That's not peace. That's energetic paralysis. I once walked through the home of a woman who had recently divorced after 27 years of marriage. She'd redone her bedroom, donated old clothes, and repainted the walls. "I'm ready," she said, but when we reached the small table by her bed, she hesitated. A single ceramic pot held a cluster of tiny, bright forget-me-nots. "They reminded me of the first bouquet he ever gave me," she whispered. "I don't know why I kept them." But her body knew, her voice dimmed, her shoulders collapsed. That one object, that tiny bloom, was a portal back to a version of herself that hadn't yet been allowed to move on. After some reflection, she let it go, not out of bitterness, but because she finally understood what it was doing, holding her in a memory that no longer fit her life. In its place, she added a small jade plant, sturdy, living, forgiving. A plant that didn't ask her to remember but to rebuild. That night, she journaled for the first time in years, not about the past, about the future. Forget-me-nots have their place. They are lovely in remembrance gardens, in seasonal rituals that honor what was. They belong on memorial altars, beside old photographs, or in the pages of journals where memory becomes meaning. But they do not belong in your kitchen, where nourishment is meant to be present tense. They do not belong in your workspace, where clarity is required. And they absolutely do not belong in your bedroom, where rest should be real, not filled with dreams you've already lived. Energy-wise, the forget-me-not is subtle, but its effects are cumulative. It doesn't push, it tugs. It slows down decisions, clouds intention, and leaves you emotionally tethered to moments you think you've processed, but haven't yet integrated. This doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're human. but your space shouldn't reinforce old hurt. It should hold who you are now and who you're becoming. So what can you do if this flower lives in your home? Start with compassion. This isn't about guilt. This is about release. Ask yourself, what part of me is still speaking through this flower? And then listen. Really listen. If what you hear is sorrow, nostalgia, regret, or even love that hasn't had space to evolve, give it a home elsewhere. Not at the center of your life. Replace it with something living, something rooted, something that grows forward. Peonies for compassion, hyacinth for renewal. Even a small vase of wildflowers, imperfect, shifting, real, can shift the entire tone of a space. Not because they erase the past, but because they don't chain you to it. Let this be the turning point. The moment you stop confusing memory with identity, you are not your history. You are not someone's absence. You are not an unfinished sentence in someone else's story. You are here now, breathing, becoming, and your home should reflect that. Because there's nothing wrong with remembering, but there is something sacred about finally letting go. Part 5, Maragold, sacred but not for the center of the home. It's bright, bold, almost impossible to ignore. The marigold doesn't hide its presence, it announces it. Bursting with vibrant yellow, deep orange, and radiant gold, it draws the eye instantly. You see it in flower markets, festivals, even wedding aisles. And for good reason. The marigold is sacred. It holds a powerful vibration of reverence, ancestral connection, and spiritual offering. But sacred doesn't mean suitable for every corner of your home. Especially not the spaces where you live, breathe, and try to build joy. Because this flower, though beautiful, doesn't carry everyday energy. It holds ceremony. And when you place ceremony in the middle of daily life, something begins to feel off. In spiritual traditions across the world, marigolds are used to honor the dead, guide spirits, and mark thresholds between this world and the next. In Latin American cultures, especially during Dia de los Muertos, marigolds are believed to attract souls of loved ones with their scent. In Hindu traditions, marigold garlands adorn altars, sacred statues, and doorways during rituals. Even in modern memorial services, these flowers often appear as a symbol of the eternal flame. Their color radiates, but it radiates remembrance, not movement. And that's the energetic caution. Because when you place marigolds in spaces like your living room, kitchen, or bedroom, the places meant for laughter, nourishment, and renewal, you anchor the frequency of sacred stillness in places designed for everyday momentum. It doesn't disrupt with loudness. It settles like dust. Slowly, the room stops buzzing. You may find yourself less motivated, more contemplative, even emotionally heavy without understanding why. The energy of the room becomes devout rather than alive. And for a home trying to heal or thrive, that can become a quiet spiritual detour. I once visited a family who had placed a thick garland of marigolds along their fireplace mantel. "They're so cheerful," the mother said. "And they remind me of my grandmother. She always used them in prayer." The sentiment was beautiful, but the space itself felt still, dense, like the room was waiting for a ritual that never came. Over time, she'd noticed a drop in energy. Less conversation, more fatigue, a strange resistance to guests staying long. She had attributed it to life stress. But when we removed the garland, carefully, with gratitude, and replaced it with softer, lighter blooms, the space shifted within days. The kids started playing in the living room again. Her own voice got brighter, not because the flower was bad, but because the frequency finally matched the intention. That's the heart of energetic alignment. Marigolds are not casual. They carry spiritual weight. And while that weight is powerful in ceremony, it can become a burden in daily living spaces when used out of context. Think of it like placing a church bell in your kitchen. Sacred? Absolutely. Appropriate. Not quite. If you've placed marigolds in your home, ask yourself why. What are you trying to remember? What are you honoring? And are you giving that memory the right home, or are you letting it echo in places that need lightness instead? There are ways to keep marigolds close without misplacing their meaning. Create a small altar. Dedicate a quiet shelf. Use them on special days of remembrance and remove them once the ritual is complete. But don't let them take up permanent residence on your nightstand, your dining table, or your family gathering spaces. That's not where their message belongs. And if you're simply drawn to their color, the warmth, the vitality, the sunburst effect, there are alternatives. Yellow tulips lift energy, sunflowers activate joy, zinnias offer playful balance. These flowers bring brightness without anchoring your space in the past. Remember, intention matters, placement matters. Energy isn't just about what feels good in the moment. It's about what lives in your space, even when you stop noticing it. The marigold is sacred, but sacredness requires context. And your home, if it's meant to be your sanctuary, needs boundaries between reflection and renewal. So take a look around today, not with judgment, but with clarity. Are you living among symbols of remembrance when what you really need is momentum? Are you calling in the past when your life is asking you to create something new? Sacred flowers deserve sacred space. And your living room, that's not a shrine. That's a stage for life still unfolding. Give it room to breathe. Part 6, Poppy when dreams turn into fog. At first glance, the poppy feels like a dream. Paper-thin petals, soft edges, colors that range from blood red to blush pink, even pale white that looks almost translucent under morning light. There's a quiet, poetic sadness to them, elegant, elusive, hard to explain. And that's exactly what makes them so deceptively dangerous in the energy of a home. Because while poppies may look like they offer beauty, what they often bring is sedation. Not rest, not peace, but emotional sleep, mental drift. The kind of haze that keeps you functional but not present, breathing but not fully alive. In energetic terms, the poppy is a flower of escape. It doesn't anchor you. It dissolves you. It's tied deeply to the energy of emotional withdrawal, spiritual drifting, and the quiet avoidance of truth. It doesn't disrupt. It lulls. It doesn't clash with the room. It fades into it and takes your clarity with it. If you've ever found yourself sitting in a room for hours without really doing anything, just floating through time, there's a chance the space is holding more yin than it should. And poppies are one of the most potent carriers of that imbalanced yin energy. Historically, the poppy has always been linked with sleep. Not restorative rest, but a deeper, more disconnected surrender. In ancient mythology, poppies were offered to gods of dreams and forgetfulness. In modern culture, they are associated with war memorials, not in the spirit of triumph, but in the act of remembrance so deep it numbs. The message of the poppy isn't hope, it's pause, it's not now. And when placed in homes, especially in creative spaces, bedrooms, or areas where decision-making is essential, their energy doesn't support progress, it suspends it. I once worked with a writer who kept a small arrangement of silk poppies on her desk. "They help me focus," she said. "They quiet the noise." But her writing had slowed. She found herself editing the same paragraphs for weeks. Ideas came but dissolved before they could take shape. There was no movement, only drifting. When we explored her space together, it became clear. The flowers weren't helping her focus. They were helping her avoid. Once she replaced them with rosemary and wild daisies, her mental fog lifted. She didn't just write more, she felt more alive doing it. That's the core issue with poppies in the home. They don't block energy, they dilute it. You may feel calm around them, but not the kind of calm that renews. It's the kind that quietly steals your edge. That makes your goals feel far away. That turns clarity into watercolor emotion. And if you've been feeling off, uninspired, or emotionally detached, these soft, fragile blooms may be the reason why. They're especially disruptive in places where your energy needs to stay sharp. In home offices, they mute clarity. In bedrooms, they deepen mental detachment but not real rest. In kitchens, they pull down motivation. And in creative spaces, they shift you from inspired to indifferent, often without you noticing until the momentum has already drained. So what's the alternative? If you're drawn to the poppy's softness, ask yourself what kind of softness you truly need. There's a difference between gentle and sedated, between comfort and avoidance. If your nervous system is overwhelmed, support it with plants that soothe and stabilize, like lavender, sage, or even aloe. If you need creative flow, bring in flowers with a subtle fire, like hibiscus or geranium. If it's emotional resilience you seek, choose something grounding, like rosemary or mint. Each plant carries not just a scent, but a signal. The key is choosing the one that matches the version of you you're growing into, not the version that needs escape. And if you already have poppies in your home, start with observation. Sit with them, breathe, notice how your body responds. Do you feel clearer or further away from yourself? If it's the latter, you know what to do: release them. Or relocate them to a space intended for reflection. A journal shelf, a private reading nook, not the heart of your home. Because your home should wake you up, not rock you to sleep. In Feng Shui, clarity is a current. You either support its flow, or you let it dissolve. The poppy may be gentle, but it is not neutral. It whispers, stay here, don't act, don't decide. And if you've been wondering why life feels paused, ask yourself, is this space feeding your dreams or fogging them? Sometimes the most beautiful things don't bring healing. They bring drift. And healing begins the moment you choose clarity over comfort, when you replace a haze with a breath, when you stop decorating with memories of emotional distance, and start designing for momentum, for wakefulness, for life that wants to be lived, not just remembered. Final, let your home remember who you're becoming. Not every flower belongs in every room. That's the simplest truth we often overlook. We decorate with our eyes, but we live through energy. And sometimes, what seems beautiful to the eye speaks a very different language to the soul. The 6 flowers we've explored: red spider lily, golden chrysanthemum, white lily, forget-me-not, marigold, and poppy. Each carry a frequency not of blooming, but of holding. Holding grief, holding endings, holding pauses that should have passed. They are sacred in their own way, yes, but sacred doesn't always mean supportive, especially not in the spaces where your future is trying to take root. Let's pause and see the pattern clearly. The red spider lily echoes what won't let go. It creates emotional feedback loops, quiet but insistent, around loss that hasn't found closure. The golden chrysanthemum brings solemnity, a noble stillness that belongs in ceremony, not beside your morning coffee or laughter-filled conversations. The white lily marks a threshold, a farewell softened by grace, but still a farewell. Its energy holds reverence, not renewal. The forget-me-not clings, gently but persistently, to stories you've outgrown, binding your present to memories that ask to be remembered rather than rewritten. The marigold is sacred fire, but fire meant for ritual, not routine. When it burns where it shouldn't, it sanctifies stagnation. And the poppy, it softens you into fog. It doesn't offer rest, it offers retreat. Beautiful, yes. But clarity doesn't bloom in a dream state. Each of these flowers carries a kind of weight, not obvious, not immediate, but felt Deep in the bones of your space, in the breath of your day-to-day, in the mood that quietly colors how you wake, how you speak, how you move. Your home listens, and it repeats what you place within it. That's not a metaphor, it's a pattern. Place reminders of endings, and your home will hold them. Place energy that numbs or lingers or remembers too long, and you may start to feel like your life is on pause, even if everything on the surface looks fine. This doesn't mean you must strip your home of every flower with meaning. It means you place meaning where it belongs. If you're honoring loss, do it with clarity, dedicate a space. Give memory its rightful altar. But don't let it take over your kitchen, your bedroom, your laughter. Because that space, your present life, is sacred too, and it deserves energy that breathes forward. You don't need to fear flowers. You just need to choose them the way you choose your words, with intention. Ask yourself, is this flower here to anchor me or release me? Does it help me arrive or does it keep me lingering? Is it decorating my space or quietly scripting the energy I live inside? Because your home is not a museum for your pain. It's a living ecosystem for your becoming. And beauty, when aligned, can transform not just a room, but your rhythm, your focus, your peace. So go back into your space today, not with shame, but with new eyes. Notice what you've placed, what you've allowed, what you've forgotten was even there. And then ask, does this still serve who I am now? If the answer is no, you already know what to do. Because when you shift your space, even by something as simple as a flower, you begin to shift your life. Let your home remember who you're becoming, not just who you were.